Have you ever felt pulled towards something without knowing why? A color, an object, an image that just speaks to you? Jung knew this wasn't random. He understood that symbols are the secret language your unconscious uses to communicate truths you're not ready to hear consciously. And what you're about to experience isn't just another personality quiz. This is a direct conversation with the deepest part of yourself. Right now, 4 ancient symbols are waiting in front of you. 4 mirrors, 4 doorways into your hidden inner world. One of them is calling your name, and the one you choose will reveal what your soul is desperately trying to tell you in this exact moment of your life. But here's what most people don't realize. Your choice isn't coming from your thinking mind. It's coming from something far deeper, something that knows you better than you know yourself. And before this video ends, you'll understand why you've been feeling the way you have, why certain patterns keep repeating, and what your unconscious is begging you to finally acknowledge. So look carefully at these 4 symbols. Which one pulls you in? Trust that first instinct, that immediate recognition. Don't overthink it. Your unconscious already knows the answer.
Now, before we dive into what your choice reveals, I need you to do something. Subscribe to this channel right now. Not later, not maybe, right now. Because what you're about to discover about yourself will only make sense if you're ready to go deeper into Jung's wisdom. And if you don't subscribe, YouTube's algorithm will make sure you never see these insights again. So, click that button, then come right back. Your unconscious will thank you. Are you back? Good. Because we're about to go somewhere most people are too afraid to look. The crystal. The architecture of your inner truth. If you felt drawn to the clear, towering crystal with its sharp edges and frozen light, stop right here. This choice reveals something profound about where you are right now. The crystal doesn't form in comfort. It forms under crushing pressure, in darkness over centuries. And if this symbol called to you, it's because you understand something most people never learn. Real clarity comes from surviving what should have broken you. You're not searching for surface pleasures or temporary comfort anymore. You've been through enough fake promises, enough unstable ground, enough relationships that dissolved the moment you needed them most. What you're craving now, what your soul is screaming for, is truth. Foundation, something solid that won't collapse when life tests it. But here's what you need to hear. Your choice reveals you've already been pressed by life. The pressure already happened, and instead of shattering, you became sharper, clearer, more real. That's your hidden power. You survived the compression, and now you carry an unshakable core that others can sense even when you're silent.
People might call you cold. They might say you're too direct, too honest, too demanding of clarity. But that's only because they're still living in comfortable illusions, and your presence makes those illusions impossible to maintain. You're not cold. You're just done pretending. And here's the deeper truth Jung would want you to understand. Your need for structure and clarity isn't about controlling others. It's about finally having the stability you never had. Maybe your early life was chaos. Maybe trust was broken too many times. Maybe you learned that the only person you could truly rely on was yourself. But listen closely, because this is where your path forward reveals itself. Your strength is structure, yes, But life doesn't always fit into perfect geometric patterns. Sometimes growth lives in the messy spaces, in the cracks, in the imperfect moments you're trying to organize away. The crystal is asking you to maintain your core truth while allowing life to breathe around you. Your unconscious is telling you this. It's time to stop wandering in fog. Cut away what brings chaos. Hold close what brings real support. You have the strength to build something lasting. Now, use it. And if you're resonating with this, you need to keep watching, because the shadow side of the crystal is coming, and it's something you can't afford to ignore. But first, the burning heart, when your soul refuses to hide anymore. If the deep red ember-like stone pulled your attention, if you felt heat just looking at it, then your unconscious is sending you an urgent message. You've been hiding, not physically, but emotionally. You learned to survive by adapting, by reading runes, by becoming what others needed you to be. And for years, maybe decades, you carried this perfectly. You played the role, you met expectations, you swallowed your real feelings because expressing them felt too dangerous, too exposed, too much. But something is changing now. That locked away part of you, the part you buried deep where no one could hurt it, is pushing against the walls you built. It's getting harder to pretend. The mask is getting heavier. And your choice of this burning heart symbol is your soul's way of saying, I'm done performing. I need to be real. This isn't about dramatic confession or public revelation. This is about something far more important. Your capacity to feel deeply, to care intensely, to live with passion instead of just managing days. That capacity is waking up. And it's terrifying because you remember what happened last time you were this open. You remember the pain.
But here's what Jung discovered about people like you. The ones who choose the burning heart aren't choosing comfort. They're choosing authenticity, even when it costs everything. Because you've tasted the alternative. You've lived the numb life, the safe life, the life where you never risk getting burned. And your soul is telling you it would rather burn than go back to that frozen existence. Your archetype is the survivor who refused to let pain kill their capacity for warmth. That's rare. Most people who get hurt build permanent walls. You're considering something different. You're considering the possibility that vulnerability might not be weakness, that opening your heart again might not be foolishness, that the fire inside you might be exactly what you need to finally live instead of just exist. And here's your warning. The one your unconscious wants you to hear. Your intensity scares people. Your honesty makes them uncomfortable. When you stop performing and start being real, some people will leave. They'll call you too much, too intense, too emotional. Let them go. They were never meant for your real life anyway. If this is hitting deep, drop a comment right now telling me which symbol chose you, because your words might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to finally stop hiding too.
If your eyes stopped on the soft, shimmering shell with its subtle pearl light, if you felt drawn to its quiet mystery, then your unconscious is speaking in the language Jung spent his life trying to help people understand. You're not like most people. You never have been. While others are satisfied with surface explanations and logical answers, you've always sensed there's something more, something moving beneath visible reality. Patterns, synchronicities, dreams that feel like messages, moments where you just know something before you have any logical reason to know it. And lately, this has been getting stronger, hasn't it? The coincidences are piling up. The same symbols keep appearing. Your dreams are becoming more vivid, more specific, more impossible to ignore. It's like your unconscious is turning up the volume, desperately trying to get your attention. This is exactly what Jung called individuation. Your psyche is trying to communicate something essential, something your conscious mind hasn't been willing to face. And by choosing the pearl shell, you're finally admitting it. You're ready to listen. But here's what you need to understand. Intuition without action is just beautiful daydreaming. Your gift for sensing what's hidden, for reading energy, for feeling what others miss, that gift is real. But it only becomes power when you trust it enough to act on it. How many times have you felt something was wrong and ignored it? How many times has your gut told you exactly what to do and you chose logic instead? And how many times were you right? Your path forward is clear. Stop dismissing what you feel. Start writing down your dreams. Start tracking the synchronicities. Start trusting that quiet voice that speaks in symbols instead of sentences. Because that voice is coming from the deepest wisdom you possess, the part of you that's connected to something far larger than your individual story. And here's the shadow you need to face. Sometimes you use your sensitivity as an excuse to avoid the harsh parts of reality. Sometimes you retreat so deep into your inner world that you forget you still have a body, a life, responsibilities that need your presence. The shell is beautiful, but if you live inside it permanently, you're not protecting yourself, you're imprisoning yourself.
The Obsidian, the power hiding in what you fear most. If you chose the dark volcanic glass, if the obsidian called to you despite its darkness, or maybe because of it, then we need to talk about something most people spend their entire lives avoiding: your shadow. Jung said the shadow contains everything we refuse to acknowledge in ourselves: our rage, our selfishness, our capacity for destruction, our darkness. And most people are so terrified of their shadow that they spend all their energy pretending it doesn't exist, projecting it onto others, blaming the world for the chaos that's actually living inside them. But not you. By choosing Obsidian, you're revealing something extraordinary. You're ready to look at what you've been taught to fear. You're ready to meet the parts of yourself that don't fit the acceptable story. And this readiness, this willingness to face your own darkness, this is where real power lives. You've been the strong one for everyone else, haven't you? The one who holds it together when everything falls apart. The one people lean on because they know you won't break. But behind that strength is something you rarely show anyone: deep loneliness, exhaustion from carrying weight that was never really yours. And underneath that,
a kind of power most people will never access because they're too afraid to go where you're willing to go. Obsidian forms when lava meets ice, when volcanic heat is suddenly frozen into solid glass. That's your story. You've been through fire. You've been through pressure that should have destroyed you. And instead of breaking, you became something harder, sharper, capable of cutting through illusions everyone else still believes.
But here's your warning. The one who stares too long into darkness can forget how to see light. Your strength can turn into isolation. Your self-sufficiency can become a prison. Your ability to handle everything alone can prevent you from ever experiencing real intimacy. Because true connection requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires trusting that not everyone is dangerous. Not everyone will hurt you. Not every open door is a trap. Your work now is learning to use your shadow as fuel instead of letting it consume you. Take that anger and turn it into boundaries. Take that pain and turn it into wisdom. Take that darkness and use it to see what others can't. That's shadow integration. That's what Jung meant by becoming whole. Now, here's what you need to do next. Every symbol revealed something about where you are right now. The crystal showed your hunger for truth and stability. The burning heart revealed your readiness to stop hiding and live authentically. The pearl shell confirmed your connection to unconscious wisdom and intuition. And the obsidian exposed your willingness to face shadow and transform darkness into power. But understanding your symbol is just the beginning. The real question is, what are you going to do with this knowledge?
Jung spent his life teaching that awareness without action is meaningless. Your unconscious gave you a message today. It showed you where you are, what you're craving, what you're ready for, and what you still need to face. Now you have to decide. Will you ignore this like you've ignored so many other signals, or will you finally listen? Drop a comment right now telling me which symbol you chose and whether this description matched what you're actually feeling, because your honesty might be the exact mirror someone else needs to finally see themselves clearly. And if this video gave you even one moment of real insight, if it helped you understand yourself a little better, then subscribe to this channel immediately. This isn't just Jung content. This is a path toward genuine self-understanding. And if you don't subscribe, you'll lose access to the wisdom your unconscious is desperately trying to help you find. Jung said it perfectly. Those who look outside dream. Those who look inside awaken. Your symbol choice today was a step toward awakening. Don't let it be your last one.